You know, what I'm a bit confident about our future though is that we've got yarning circles popping up all around the schools, universities. They're a beautiful tool for us to remind us that we are a community. A circle is made up of all the members of it, and not one is prominent, and that's very close to Aboriginal culture. That equality, or that respecting each other's equality, it also goes a long way to peace. Now, but our ancestors, and I love doing that, and sharing about the experience of Aboriginal Australia, which most people understand to be one of the oldest continuous cultures on the planet. And so we can look at that and see what works in that. And there's a lot that works. And the proof of it, of course, is that with Cook arriving after people have been living there for 30,000 years and believing the people have only just arrived. And I keep reminding, that's how we normally live. We've got it in us. We're not after anything that we don't have. We have that in us to self-govern, to self-police, and to look after country. And these were big values, but we've got so hard against this, which is why I say applaud to everyone and to our young people. The world that we've inherited, which is a weird one, puts us in conflict with each other all the time. To make $1 to feed yourself and your family, you've got to go out and compete with others. You know, we didn't normally do that. Right? Competition, we had competition, of course. People are competitive. We left that to sport. We did not leave it to whether who's going to eat tonight or who's going to have a safe and a warm place. And the other thing we did well too is that we shared resources. We had sharing laws, and I'd love to imagine how the situation over in the Ukraine and Gaza would be if everyone just shared resources. And that, I suppose that's the other thing that we're up against too. We're in a consumerist culture where we are actually encouraged to get more and more and more. Now our ancestors are often, I'll get it out now anyway. And I'll remind you too that Cook's observation was the Aboriginal people he met, one of the happiest people he'd ever met. But our people lived simply. This is how people lived all over Australia, not that long ago. Like 200 years ago, most of Australia was living like this. This is how humans have lived the longest time. And it's not who's got the flashiest hut, who's got the tallest building, or who's got the most stuff. The beautiful part too, I think, is that in Aboriginal culture, again, something we can learn from it, everyone has country. So yes, we had issues with each other, but not over the really basic things of whether people are going to survive or not. Country was something that was not something you could sell to someone or you could take from somebody. It was what you were born into, and it's what you looked after. You didn't get to do whatever you liked with country. And of course, back then too, they were all skilled up and had access to country, so everyone's fed, everyone's sheltered. But I tell you, this year, and sorry Liz, I'm sure I've gone over 5 minutes, but this year the penny dropped for me too, even when, because I've been banging on for years about how wonderful it is that, you know, I come in with the good news, that human beings are normally very good at looking after the planet and looking after each other because of the sharing laws. But the penny started to drop for me as I was going through some of the old records and stories of yesteryear. Even when people have all got food, all got shelter, as we did in a whole continent here. It's extraordinary that the rest of the world's still working that stuff out. But we still had dramas with each other. People were still, that's why we had law, people would still lose it with each other. Most of it was over matters of the heart. Because, like I say, materially wasn't an issue. Everyone had what they needed, but we still had dramas with each other. And I started to understand, peace is not something that we achieve, or it's something we have to practice daily with each other. When we walk past each other in the street, give each other a nod. That is peacekeeping. And again, it reminds you, we don't normally have police. That's us. We police each other, and we do quite well, reasonably. We can do better, of course. But it is something we have to work at each day. We're not going to get there. I think it's like with treaty. Let's throw that in too. Treaty, please. I'm trying to get people to just get out of the thought that you're going to sign a bit of thing and everything's going to be sorted. And I think actually we can do better than that, because we've had treaties in our Western and other civilizations all around the world, and they just get busted. The United States, classic example. So it's not going to be something that's going to be signed off and sorted. It's going to be a relationship that we have and work on and make it a beautiful one. And we normally do that, again, in a society where we're not thrown in competition with each other. Normally when, and I love this, when Aboriginal groups traded, it was not to profit of each other. They would look to see how you're going to keep the other person happy. Like the country gave you everything you needed anyway, so it was not out of desperation, it was not to profit, it was just to keep good relations with each other, which again, I'll remind you, we need to do every day. So, but it's in us, they're the good news. This crazy way of living that seems to spread all over the world now, that's not the core of us. For the longest time, we've actually been a sharing culture, and the animals attest to that. You know, we do well with them. Now, I'm going to hold you up for 2 more minutes, just to remind you of this beautiful story that we still carry from the old days. It's got those messages in it. You're welcome to share it with other people, and it's the Waratah story. And it's a beautiful story. It's we have one up here similar, but the one I share is by the river because it talks about 2 great mobs having a huge battle down by the river. We don't know what it was about. What we do know though is that in the story there was so much killing that the story said it's a Dreamtime story, so everything's bigger and huge. But in the story there's so much killing between these mobs, which is unusual for our people. You had 20 fighting men in your own clan. You don't want to risk them all, but we had a huge fight. We don't know why. Blood everywhere. It covered the ground, went into the waterways, and the animals went to go drink from the water holes, couldn't do it, and moved out of our area. Now we suffered as a result of losing those beautiful creatures and that. But it was, and I make that point with the kids. You know, I stop at that point in the story and explain. You know, what's happened there is that the whole country gets affected by how we are with each other. Mm. And yeah, us as a competitive and winners and losers and that sort of thing, you know. Look at Sydney now, go through the park benches, people sleep on the streets, other people got empty investment homes, and it's just a nuts world. Again, well done everyone, we're not at each other's throats, but we will get through this. It's gotten better in my time. The second part of the story actually gives us that bit of hope in it. It has the Sky Father arriving after this senseless killing and blood everywhere. And they say he is so moved by the senseless killing of these people that he weeps. And the tears when they land from the Sky Father into the blood of the slain warriors, up comes a red Waratah for the first time. Beautiful, sweetening flower, used by our people for reconciliation too. But a beautiful reminder that even after great, terrible things, something beautiful could come from that. And so we're hoping that this, as we're seeing the wars and dramas across the planet, is hopefully heralding in a good peace. I'm not saying let's keep doing it, I'm saying cut that right now, no need for it. And Australia should not be supporting any of this. Even defending people, yes, let's bring people in for shelter, we have a history of that. Beautiful stories at the coast of clans hosting other clans in when their country's going through drought and stuff like that. I would love us to be known as that kind of country. Again, it's going to work though when we start working peace out within ourselves. So we work on our peaceful hearts as well, work on our neighbours, as in making sure everyone's got a home, and make it easy for us to be peaceful and loving with each other as we want to be. All right, I hope I haven't taken up the whole day, but thank you very much, and good on you.